A very good evening to you and welcome to the programme with me, Riz Latif. First tonight, the call for a project that has already cost the taxpayer nearly £40 million to be scrapped. A damning report into the controversial Garden Bridge says the costs to build a new river crossing are escalating out of control, the purpose of the bridge remains unclear and the process to find the architects wasn't open and fair. The project's future is now in serious doubt, as our transport correspondent Tom Edwards reports.
This is where the Garden Bridge was meant to be built, stretching from Temple to the South Bank. Today, though, another blow to a project under fire. A review says it's not value for money.
Don't put another penny of London ratepayers' money or British taxpayers' money into this project. I know that money has been lost, but I would cut your losses now, because I am just, there are too many risks, there are too many uncertainties, and there is no clarity to me that the money can be raised from the private sector.
The bridge was meant to be an oasis of calm above the Thames, funded mainly by private donors, with £60 million coming from the taxpayer. It had big backers, including the previous Mayor Boris Johnson and the then Chancellor George Osborne. Procurement, the costs, the previous mayor, deputy mayors, TfL officials are all criticised in this withering report. It also reveals that the cost of the Garden Bridge could now be more than £200 million, and there's a shortfall of £70 million. It says the trust's finances are in a precarious state. Opponents always said the Garden Bridge was in the wrong place and it had ruined protected views.
We think it's a very damning report. It's not looking good for the Garden Bridge Trust. It will be very difficult for them to pull something out of the hat after this. And we think that Boris has left us with the ultimate frippery, and Sadiq Khan has it in his power to refuse the guarantee.
Well, I think it was hugely damning, and it shows what many of us have felt for a long time, that all the money that's been spent on this project has not been well spent, and that it's not good value for public money. And quite frankly, if you read the thorough report that's been done, the Mayor of London has to kill off this project now and stop throwing good money after bad.
The report also says that the procurement of the bridge was not open or fair, and it recommends that the project should be cancelled, even though it could cost the taxpayer up to £60 million. Others say that this whole review process is nothing more than a kangaroo court. The Garden Bridge Trust says it is more determined than ever to build the crossing. The big question now is, what will the mayor do? Let it wilt or kill it?
Tom, you've been following the Garden Bridge's controversial journey. What's your view on whether it will get built?
Well, I suspect what it'll come down to in the end is money. This project needs private donors, and at the moment they're staying away. There's been a lot of bad publicity, and what this is, in a sense, is death by 1,000 reviews, and the criticisms keep on coming. Tonight we've had a very damning statement from Mark Barfield Architects. They created the London Eye behind me. Extremely damning words from them. They say the competition didn't smell right from the start. We were just there to make up the numbers. We feel deeply embarrassed to have been used in this way by a publicly accountable body. They go on. TfL continues to be in denial. All of this extremely damning for Transport for London, and it leaves the current mayor with a political problem. Here's Carl Mercer.
Cabin crew doors to manual. Cabin crew doors to manual.
Politicians like to leave their mark.
And this way, Boris. Boris, this way.
Boris Johnson liked river crossings. This one out in East London did at least get off the ground. The bigger challenge of the Garden Bridge may yet tarnish his legacy. London's former mayor wanted it, but delays meant it didn't happen on his watch. And at the time, he didn't like being questioned about the way he'd handled it.
We're getting to the bottom of why rules and procedures are important and why you need to get on and do your job. And I think you've said what your
I think we need to get on and build this bridge. I think the political opponents of this bridge, this whole thing is a load of cobblers, and it's all political. It's political. You just cannot bear the idea that a great project is going ahead.
No, you can't bear the idea, Mr. Mayor, that you have to work within the rules and procedures.
He's now got a new job, of course, in Greece yesterday and refusing to comment on the Garden Bridge today. He also wouldn't talk to Margaret Hodge's inquiry.
Boris point blank refused to come and talk to me, and I regret that because it was his project and he has to take responsibility for it.
Deciding whether the bridge goes ahead will now fall to the man who replaced Boris Johnson.
Sure you want to do this?
Sadiq Khan has backed the idea of the bridge but said he won't put any more public money into it. But after asking Margaret Hodge to review the project in September, 3 months later he sent this email to the chair of the Garden Bridge Trust, Lord Davies. It went like this.
Dear Lord Davies, I believe that the position that I set out in May is clear. Given previous expenditure, the taxpayer will be better off if the bridge is built. I do not see that Dame Margaret's review could reach a different conclusion.
Her findings are, in fact, pretty much the opposite, putting the ball firmly back in the Mayor's court.
I've based my conclusions and my recommendations on all the facts that were put before me. I've got a bit of experience in this field. I've been doing it for 40 years and I had 5 years chairing the Public Accounts Committee. So I think I've done a fair, honest and direct bit of work.
It's now over to the Mayor to do his. He wouldn't be interviewed today, but we're told he'll study the review carefully before responding in full, before deciding if this is as close as we'll get to a garden bridge. Carl Mercer, BBC London News.
Stay with us.